Happy New Comic Book Day, geeks, and welcome to issue 85 of the Script Heroes podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Joseph, and today we're going to be talking about Exquisite Corpses, issue 3, Justice League Unlimited, issue 9, Void Rivals, issue 21, Texarcanum, number 1, The Voice Said Kill, issue 1, and the brand new Godzilla, issue 1, kicking off the new shared Godzilla verse of
Yes.
IDW.
Is that what they call it? Do they have a fancy name for it yet?
I'm calling it the Isai era, which is not really like a word.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, be sure to hit subscribe to add our show to your pull list, and let's jump right into Justice League Unlimited.
So there, Justice League Unlimited issue 9. The writer of the series is Mark Waid of JLA, World's Finest, and Shazam. The artist is Dan Moore of World's Finest, Shazam, and Power Rangers. The colorist is Tamara Bonvillain, and the letterer is Dave Sharp. Katie, this has, I think, not so secretly been one of our least favorite series that we have been continuing to read on the podcast, mainly due to the importance of the grander DC universe. How did you feel about issue 9?
This event just won't die. I flipped it open. It's like We Are Yesterday epilogue, and I'm like, oh, okay, but at least it's an epilogue. It did not feel very epilogue-y to me.
On the way the last one ended, that it had to continue.
I know, but
talk about the decision to end the event in the series that had way too many characters was by stranding a bunch more characters in our time.
And I was gonna say spoiler alert, but it's not a spoiler. Doing nothing with them. Yeah. It's just it feels like everything was done with just like, hey, it'd be cool if we did this, right? And then there's like no further thought with it.
Yeah. It's
like, oh, it'd be cool if we saw all the different iterations of Supergirl, right? Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, we'll just do that. And it doesn't feel like any of it is in service of character. It's certainly at this point not in service of the plot, because the plot ended last issue, supposedly. Yeah. But this in no way felt like an epilogue to me. This felt, yet again, like the issue right before the end of the event. Yeah. And I'm like, it's the issue right after the end. How did that happen?
No, I agree. Certainly.
So yeah, it had too much going on. I feel like the stuff they had Mr. Terrific doing was like, it's hard to, write an interesting sequence in which someone is like thinking really hard, right? Yeah. And like comes up with a solution. But this was literally just somebody thinking hard enough and coming up with a solution.
It might speak to the way I felt about the series overall, but I was actually just relieved that we were actually focusing on a specific character.
Honestly, that's fair.
And I was like, oh my god, at least like Mr. Terrific has like some amount of he has an emotion and like a drive, like there is motivation behind what he's doing. And that made me very happy, because I think that may be the first time that's happened with any character in this Justice League series. And I was like, we have a character, we're focusing on this character. I wish we were focusing on more like specific characters with specific things going on. But yeah, I agree with you that like watching somebody try to solve a problem is not the most interesting thing. But I was just happy that we had like essentially like a POV character finally that we could kind of latch
That is really, really fair. I also think it's a bummer that he's the only character who's like interacting with his past self. I feel like that's the exciting thing about bringing in characters from other times, right? It's seeing them interact. Because that's what's fun about it, is looking at how these characters have changed. And instead they're like, okay, no, you can't go near your like temporal doubles. So we're not going to have any fun in that sandbox.
Yeah. And like even that, like there's still things you can do with like characters that would usually kind of be connected but with different versions. And like Batman Beyond got like the big setup at the end of the last issue where he's the one who like gets the line when they pop up, and he's like barely shown in this issue. And I was like, what? He got like the big set. We got a little bit of Abin Sur and Hal, which was nice for a moment.
Was nice. That was nice.
Yeah, it was like that, but I'm saying more interactions like that. Like if we could have had modern day Bruce with Terry, that would have been cool. Like that kind of stuff is cool.
Or if you wanted to really pander, you could have brought Jason Todd as a Robin back and had Bruce interact with him. Like, if you want to get real kind of, I don't know, fan edity, like if you're writing for the voracious readers.
There's many things they could have done to have like some cool interactions, and I don't think anybody was sitting there being like, what we need is the two Mr. Terrifics to interact, because Mr. Terrific is a character who's changed so much during his time at DC Comics that's a real interesting interaction.
Right?
Like, I feel like he doesn't appear often enough for his past self to be like different enough from his current self.
Yeah. And like, it just, this whole fucking book has felt like just a one big whiffed missed opportunity. And this is, I feel, a big culmination of that.
It's just too many characters, and now it's way too many characters to the point that most characters in this issue would just pop up and then be gone like a couple of pages later. Like Hal and Abinster are like the opening, focused characters, and then they just don't pop up for the rest of the book. And like there's a bunch of kind of things like that. I do think Abinster gets a couple recurring things where he's like, we ought to kill Grodd, which was nice, because like a Green Lantern being like, let's just kill the guy is at least like a logical thing. I like that, especially Abinster. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Mr. Terrific was the correct focus. I was glad we at least got a focus.
Well, it's the summer of Superman, so they needed to. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Waid was told, like, hey, make sure that Mr. Terrific is, like, doing things.
Yeah, but just focus on some other characters. Like, I don't know, just give us some, like, I would have liked to have, like, a time-displaced POV character that we were following, like,
right?
Like, Batman Beyond makes a ton of sense for that, because he's, like, the character who's from a different time. He doesn't have a current solo book, right? Like, it would have been cool if he could have been a focus character, but, and like, that is some personal, but any character, that's just one that I'm using as, like, could have been a good.
Well, hey, don't you worry. They teased that there's
Man too, if Mark Waid wanted to do his own thing,
They teased that there's a spin-off happening, like a little one-shot. So maybe we'll get a little one-shot of Terry being lost in time. And then we can pretend that the rest of the event didn't happen.
Yeah.
But we have more books to talk about, namely Exquisite Corpses. Let's go talk about this bloodbath. Exquisite Corpses, number 3. The writers here are Pornsak Pichetshote of The Good Asian, Man's Best, and Dead Boy Detectives, with James Tynion IV of Something's Killing the Children, House of Slaughter, and The Nice House on the Lake. The artists are Valentin Delandro of X Factor, Marvel Knights, and Bitch Planet, with Michael Walsh of The Silver Coin, Secret Avengers, and Star Wars. The colorist is Jordi Belair, and the letterer is Becca Carey. Jay, number 3 in our little bracket of Exquisite Corpses.
Yes,
how exciting!
In the bracket, the bracket continues to be the thing that I least like about this book, because I feel like it's a little spoilery.
That's fair.
Not a fan of the bracket. I am a fan of the rest of this book, though. So let's talk about it. I feel like my big complaint in issue 2, coming from issue 1, was that the townsfolk didn't get enough focus. And you pointed out rightfully that Laura, who's the EMT, did still get some good stuff to go on.
Yeah.
She's the focus of this issue, which I feel like makes for a very good issue, because she definitely has the most depth. She has the most going on. And the fact that this issue gets to mostly be her, and then the cool family, like, watching stuff that we always talk about how amazing it is. I feel like with those two things being, like, what this issue were built around, makes it a really, really strong issue. I genuinely care about Laura in a way that I think I don't with a lot of the other townsfolk, so there is, like, a genuine anxiety around when she's doing things, especially when it's Nurse Pete, right? Pete's his name? Yeah. When Nurse Pete is, like, in the back of their truck and things are getting
horrifying,
be exposed, so he might just go straight after them. Like, that was a really good moment, and it was really tense, and it just played with all the things that, like, we talk about. You can't really do traditional horror in comics, and you can't jump scare us, but that kind of stuff can really freak you out, because you're like, oh, no, I'm so concerned for the characters. And I feel like this issue was chock full of that, which made it really strong. I also feel like I often am somebody who gets up in arms about artist changes throughout the series, but I feel like the fact that Michael Walsh has, like, been a part of the art team through all these issues.
Mhm.
And like I'm assuming that's the reason why has helped it have a very consistent look to it,
Yeah.
shift through artists. So, I like to give them credit for that too, despite the shifting creative team. So I quite like this issue.
Yeah.
It was very good.
I did too. I think they did a great job with this issue. I was very nervous because my out the gate favorite killer was the like sister of the rich family, and I was very worried because in the bracket she's up against the lone gunman, and I was like, oh no, that's the main character. She's gonna die. But they actually do a lot of great groundwork for it in this issue as well. Like one of the other family people like brings up that the killer that they hired has specific beef with her, and there's like all of this build up to like, oh, you're gonna be so sad when your sister dies. I'm like, oh, this is exciting. This is keeping me really excited about
the
like
family stuff's so good.
the family stuff is so good, and the like grandma lady from Virginia who hired Nurse Pete, her whole thing as she watched Pete go through all of his spree and stuff was so good. Like, oh, she was great. And then
All about them side.
she was wonderful. All about the side bets. Yeah, I think this is a really good issue, and I love that it focused on Laura, but I also like that it did bring us in. We know that the conspiracy nut is hanging out with Pretty Boy, who's another one of the killers.
Which was a really
We know that poor Zavi keeps just like finding corpses. And so like he's on the lookout for whatever he's doing. So there's I feel like it's, even though it focused in on Laura, which I loved, it didn't feel like it forgot about the other townspeople, and it's one of those things where it then like starts to build that sense of connection to them. So I'm like, okay, I like what I'm seeing them doing. Like I like that Pretty Boy is feeding into the conspiracy nuts conspiracies to like hang out with him.
It was very
so I think there was a lot of really good stuff to like in this issue. I think that it's really gorgeous. I've really enjoyed all of the art changes, and I think that they do a good job of making it still feel cohesive. And like this book has a real nice identity.
Yeah.
So yeah, big thumbs up for me as well.
Yeah, it was very well done. Like you said, it's not that it doesn't do other things, but I think like having Laura as the focal point is like a way to keep you in the book. So it's not just like this is going on and this is going on, but why should you care about anything? It's like this is what you care about, and we're going to keep you there, but we're also going to build the other things so that it can all come together. Love it. It was very well done.
Yeah, it's got a lot of iron, a lot of layers, kind of like a tiny onion
or a tiny ogre.
Anyway, if you're reading Exquisite Corpses, who do you think is going to come out on top? And do you think they're going to break from the bracket format? Let us know down below, and we are going to go talk about The Voice Said Kill.
The Voice Said Kill, issue 1. The writer is Cy Spurrier, who's worked on Coda, X-Men, and The Flash. The artist is Vanessa Del Rey, who's worked on The Witcher, Redlands, and The Creeping Below. The colorist is John Starr, and the letter is Hassan Itzman. Allow. Katie, talk to me.
Yes. I was very intrigued by this issue. I think that it is something that comes out with a lot of intrigue. Like there's one, the fact that the title is The Voice Said Kill, and as we get deeper in, we know there's this thing going on with the headpieces. I think that's really exciting about, like, it feels like you're going to discover quite a bit over the course of the 4 issues. Like I think that there's going to be like a really good reveal around that felt like some really solid groundwork happening. I think that it's also one that came at the races with the characters. I think that between our pregnant Lady Marie and the very intimidating Mrs. Waters, and even a couple of the side characters, most notably like the kind of grandma in the swamp, I think there's good pieces on the board. I did find that throughout the issue, I didn't quite know the game that was being played, though, right? So, like, I see all these pieces and they're moving. I just don't really know what direction they're moving in. And I think that there was a little bit of disorientation at the very start of the book. Like I didn't quite feel like I was give it enough time to like grab onto the guard or onto the rail or something to be kind of whipped away with the book with how much world seems to be there. Like it's something that feels like it has a robust world, but we only get to see a little bit of a sliver of it, which is a bit of a bummer for a first issue.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I didn't find myself as endeared to the characters.
That's fair.
I none of them really ended up grabbing me as being like particularly interesting or engaging. It's a book that comes at you with like a very specific style and vibe. Like we talk about comics that are heavily vibes. I feel like this is one that kind of lands in that. It has this very specific vibe and tone that it hits you with right away, and it just wasn't something that really like grabbed me or that I found myself particularly in love with. And when like I think when a heavy vibe book doesn't get you like that right away, it ends up having an uphill battle because you either kind of bought in or you're not. And I found myself more on the not side, which is unfortunate and makes it kind of harder to buy into. I think that a lot of stuff with our do I call him like creepy woodsman? Like is that
with the Young Waters, whatever his name was. Yeah.
I thought that a lot of that had like really like good visceral illustration to it, but that was kind of the lone highlight of the book to me, unfortunately.
That is very fair. Yeah, so I'm not sure if we'll keep going with it on the pod, but I think I'm certainly going to keep picking it up. Because we all know I'm a big sucker for very vibey books. So I'm willing to roll with the vibes. And I think that the conflict that Marie has later on, when she has that voice in her ear, I really did like that sequence. I think that sequence had a good like ratcheting of tension.
Right.
I'm very intrigued by that, and that's got its little hooks in me to keep me coming back for a little bit more. But speaking of a little bit more, a book that we always want a little bit more of, Void Rivals. Let's go talk about it. Void Rivals number 21. The writer here is Robert Kirkman of Invincible, The Walking Dead, and Oblivion Song. The artist is Connor Hughes of White Ash and The Game. The colorist is Patricio Del Peche, and the letterer is Russ Wooten. Jay, Void Rivals is a familiar face for us here at the Script Heroes.
It is. It's one of the books we've had on the podcast, I think, the longest.
Yeah. It's one of the ones that's run the longest.
Yeah, it's still going. Our theories of it ending at 24 have been disproven as of San Diego Comic-Con, as they have announced an issue 25 and a new artist that I can't remember that will be doing issue 25. But for now,
how do you feel about 21?
Yeah, we still get the I was trying to transition in. we still get the fantastic Connor Hughes artwork. I feel like he has such a cool style for this world that is really, really great. Yeah, that is rad. And I feel like this issue just got a lot of things I really enjoyed. Like it's his name's Proximus, right? Is the big, yeah. I've sang the the praises of Proximus and particularly Proximus's design so many times, and we get just an epic Proximus sequence towards the start of this book that I feel like is just really, really good and like
absolutely
big intimidating dude. Love it. We get some good Derek and Celeste stuff. I will say, it undercut last issue a little bit. I feel like because they just kind of get on the same page, and I get the point is like, oh, they can't do anything about Celila, so they have to kind of just let her do her thing, which like means the last issue did matter, but it kind of makes it feel like it didn't. But
here's the thing, I'm fine with them just finding an excuse to make Derek and Celila fight, though.
That's fair. It was gorgeous. I do like a lot of stuff that happened there. I like the exchanging hand droids was a very fun and funny moment. But what I'm kind of leaving for last is I love the Skuxoid stuff in this issue. I feel like since the Skuxoid solo issue that got me to like actually be like, oh, okay, now I do know who he is and what his deal is. I am just so excited every time he pops up now, and his story within this issue was awesome. I loved all the Skuxoids. I feel like it was just really fun stuff for Connor Hughes to draw in a really, really cool way. And I enjoyed that a ton. And between that and the Proximus stuff, this made this a very, very fun issue.
Hell yeah. Yeah, fully agree. really, really gorgeous, fun times. Like, I absolutely love the moment when Proximus, like, the big explosion is coming and he just stops it in its
Yeah,
tracks.
man's
That was
terrible.
such a good, impactful moment. Uh, Absolutely, well worth the splash. Really, really fun. I also really enjoyed Derek and Salila getting to be together again. I feel like it's a common refrain from me anytime we read a book that has kind of a core cast, and I'm always so grumpy every time they get separated. I'm like, no, I'm here for the character interaction, actually, so please put them back together. So I am very pleased that they're back together. I would read an entire spin-off book about Derek's like uh fighter pilot brigade. They did their
Oh,
little
the
sound
Vandal.
off in the chat and I was like, I love all of them. If they die during these events, I will be heartbroken. I want a prequel book about Derek doing pilot things with them. Um, like that's what I would like to read, please, Mr. Kirkman. This is my humble request. But yeah, everything's heating up so much in Void Rivals. I feel like the grander stakes aren't as exciting to me as when they were much tighter knit on Derek and Salila, and even on them kind of like in a their planet sense. Like it's gotten very intergalactic with the Transformers and stuff, which is
Yeah,
fine. It's just not my favorite
I
thing in
don't
the
think that's
world.
changing with Kirkman gonna be also writing Transformers. I feel like we're gonna get much grander picture. Uh,
Yeah, which is fine. It's just not my favorite. But which is why I need the spin-off book with Derek and his little flight crew.
as if Kirkman's not doing enough books now.
Hey, you know what? He can do more. I know he can. But yeah, I think it's a ton of fun. It's a book that really I get excited about every time that I pick it up.
I
Yeah,
agree.
absolutely.
Well,
Dear listener, are you reading Void Rivals? How do you feel about the expanded stakes? How do you feel about the Energon universe being brought to our little planet? Let us know in the comments down below. And we are going to move right along to Texarcanum.
Texarcanum. The writer is Christopher Munfetti of Clive Barker's Hellraiser and Clive Barker's Seteth. The artist is Miguel Martos. This is his first major comic. The colorist is Patricio Del Pecci, and the letter is Michael Hesler. Katie.
Yeah. I mean, I am generally a pretty big fan of like kind of folk horror type of things, like kind of that kind of Midwest Gothic vibe. Like
Yeah.
I was scared shitless by, but absolutely loved Until Dawn. Um, I feel like it's the same kind of fear that taps into Buried Long Long Ago. I think that there are a lot of amazing, cool things about like Midwest themed horror,
Yeah.
and I think there's a reason most of them happen at night. Um,
Hmm.
I I found myself when reading this book a little pulled out of the spookiness of it, which is a bit of a bummer because like the supernatural spooky side of it is what had me really excited about reading it. Like come on, a cowboy doing magic, it's the best. I love a good cowboy doing magic. Uh but I feel like he had a kind of a blasé attitude towards it, and
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say, I
universe
don't know if
itself.
they're going for horror.
I know, but like if you're gonna whip out some of these creatures that are like meant to be, because like I would agree with you, but the sequence where they encounter the supernatural is like very violent. Like the
It is.
so
That was a little odd for me.
and the locusts and stuff eating everyone's flesh off, also very violent. So like they have a lot of gore happening, but then I
Yeah.
feel like there's not like a proper vibe to back that up, where like I agree that it doesn't feel like they're going for horror, but I think that if you're going to be showing me all of these like body horror kind of gore fest things, like okay, but like, I have a strong reaction to that as a reader,
Yeah.
and your characters are like super wave handy about it,
Yeah.
which I really liked when the sheriff was explaining, like, oh yeah, I didn't call you here, I didn't call you for this, I didn't call you for this, but I called you for this. I thought that
Yeah.
was a really well delivered segment, but I think that um it kind of was emblematic of my bit of a gripe with this book, where I was like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like this is like unexplained in any way. I feel like the only kind of it poses a threat in a very like real bodily way, but it doesn't feel like a real emotional threat to me. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
scared of these creatures because they're not set up to really be scary, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what they were going for is like an Indiana Jones vibe. Like, I think that was the
I suppose.
thing. At least that's what I was like, oh, this is kind of like Indiana Jones with I guess Indiana Jones has magic with more magic, with like a more, you know, accepted magic, I guess is how I'll put it. And my feelings on this issue is that I thought it was a fine introduction of Avery Bell and like his deal, but the actual issue plot was kind of a nothing burger. So I feel like it's one of those issues that for me is going to be heavily colored by what comes after. If it's like, okay, this was just a good introduction for the character, and then we do something really cool with the character moving forward, I'll be like, okay, this was fine. But if it's like a bunch of these kind of one issue things where they don't really do a good job making you invested or care about anything around it, that's not great. So I'm like, I feel very wait and see with this issue, because I'm like, okay, it's kind of a cool concept. Did a fine job introducing your character, but you definitely didn't really make me care about this monster, mystery, whatever you want to
This
call
monster of the week.
Yeah, this monster of the week. So yeah, I see how you landed where you landed, because like, especially if you went in with the mindset of like, oh, this is gonna spook me. I feel like the opening of this book did a lot of the heavy lifting to where my head went, oh, this is not a spooky book at all. This is a very like fun,
See, the opening of the book actually makes me feel more like it should be a spooky book.
It's like
Like, it opens with a bunch of people being cursed.
Well, that's
People
the kind
died
of
in fires.
why there's a bunch of missing. But then like it's like this dude being like, he shows up and he's like, I got all this taken care of, and I don't really care about anything. I got all these fun, weird little tools that I unfurl, and I need to label my skulls.
I mean, that's very fair. I think that it just wasn't super effective as an Indiana Jones style book, either for me. Like, I don't feel like I'm going on it. He does have a hat, though. Yeah. Anyway, we have one more book to talk about, and it is Godzilla. Godzilla #1. This is coming to us from writer Tim Seeley of Nightwing, Hackslash, and Batman Eternal. The artist is Nicola Chimencia of Batman and Robin, Batman Urban Legends, and Sword of Azrael. The colorist is Francesca Zagala, with a coloring assistant in Gloria Martinelli, and a letterer in Nathan Wittick. Jay, we read the Free Comic Book Day Godzilla packet, and this is one that didn't jump out to us at first, but we decided to give it a shot. How do you feel that shot went?
That's true. The funny thing is, I cannot remember any of what was in this book from the Free Comic Book thing. Was it the beginning of this? Because I was like, I do not remember.
I think it was just the first like 8 pages of this or something.
Wildly, I did not remember the beginning of this, which is wild to me. But I did quite enjoy this. I thought this was a very fun way to approach Godzilla. Godzilla himself is not all that important in this issue, but I feel like that is fine, because we are setting up this team called G-Force, which I quite like. I could do without the robot that can only speak in his theme song, because that is, I think, getting old already, and I'm not excited for that to keep going for a lot more.
Maybe he'll die early.
It's like a one-time joke. But the rest of the cast, I think, is actually quite fun, and we even have things that like tie into other things. Like one of them is a former Dead Zone patrol member, which is we got the Dead Zone book coming, so I like that. And then we have our big guy. Is his name? It's not Jace, right? It's like it's something like Jace, though, isn't it?
It's like Jacian or something.
Jacian or something.
I'll look.
We got this dude who has kaiju power despite not being a kaiju, which I think is actually a really rad concept, and kind of having this government agency and like the different people in it have different agendas for him because he's like the key. I like chosen one prophecy things. It's not a prophecy, and he's not like a chosen, but he's essentially going to be it. Oh, I like chosen
Yeah.
one for this. That kaiju power.
He's a G mutant.
Yeah. So like I thought that was a really rad concept. I liked a lot of the interactions in this issue. There's even one that like actually got me when it got twisted around at the end. I was like, oh, okay.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm interested to see where that goes. So yeah, after not liking the Free Comic Book Day stuff all that much for this, really loved the other two, which maybe is why. It might have been because of just how cool the other two were. That this one felt less interesting to me. I thought this was a really cool setup issue. Again, Godzilla himself, not all that important in this issue, so and I honestly probably care less about that because I'm not like a Godzilla fan, so I'm not sitting here like I need more. It's not like the thing where you're like, oh, I need more Spider-Man in my Spider-Man book. I didn't feel like I needed more Godzilla because I'm not this huge Godzilla fan. So I was down to get invested with these characters and like set up for later.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think most Godzilla media is really about Godzilla, right? Like,
yes,
when you have
in general, right? You need the human story.
Exactly, you need the people to have the story told about them, so that you like have a sense of I don't know, fear of kaiju's, which is something that we talked about in our review of Kaiju Score, which you can check out on the channel. But yeah, I think that my concern with this book after the first issue is actually with Jason's kaiju powers. We see him at one point punch a kaiju, maybe not fully into submission. We get like a kind of little qualifier with that, but I'm a little worried because, like, I don't know, seeing someone go mano a mano with a kaiju is it takes you out of it a little bit, right? Like it feels like it drags the kaiju power level down. And maybe that'll go very differently when up against Godzilla. And you know, I have faith in Tim Seeley. I really like Tim Seeley's writing. So that was my big point of concern. But yeah, I was really surprised by how much I liked this issue after being not super sold on the Free Comic Book Day one. I think that all of the characters, aside from the robot, were like really, they were big. These characters all really wear their heart on their sleeve, which could be
and
annoying,
one of them has
but
like
I think
a huge sleeve, so you know.
I think that Tim Seeley does a good job of using it to the benefit of quickly getting to know characters, and it doesn't feel like they're just kind of expositing for the sake of expositing or anything. They all are like saying their feelings, but it never feels super off when they do. So I think that was a really well threaded needle. And it did have me really invested in the book, in the cast. So I'm really glad that we picked it up because it was a surprising hit for me.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It was just Tim Seeley did a really good job of making these characters distinctive and immediately getting it across to you, which is kind of what you need with an ensemble book. And yeah, I'm because I feel like, despite the fact that we said like yes, Godzilla books are typically about like humans, but I feel like they are typically about like normal humans or like you know like maybe like scientist humans, but not like
it's not normally Pacific Rim style.
Yeah, like I really like that we have like this like super team, and then we're gonna have like the desert, we're gonna have the sci-fi thing. I'm like that makes me much more excited for a Godzilla universe because that's stuff that I enjoy. You know, like those are the types of stories that I enjoy. So I feel like this is the perfect way for me to get into Godzilla.
Yes, I definitely agree. Dear listeners, what corner of the Godzilla universe, or I'm sorry, the Kaisei era, are you most excited about delving into? And are you on board for the universe as a whole? Let us know down below as we start to deliberate because it is time for the pull list rec.
Yeah, I have my choice. Like there was one that I was leaning toward maybe giving it to instead.
Ooh.
But I am gonna go with my gut on this one.
I too have my choice.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Exquisite Corpses issue 3. Yeah.
As am I. It was really stellar this week.
It was really good.
Yeah. Good
So the Inkling
recentering.
to give it to like a really good number one for any universe. Like, maybe even though it wasn't my favorite issue, maybe I just give it to Godzilla because I do think that's like a really cool thing for you to fall. But I think Exquisite Corpses earned it. It was a very, very good issue from Exquisite Corpses. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If anything sounded interesting in any of our reviews, you should pick it up. And yeah, let us know if you're going to start reading any of these books, or let us know anything that you want us to start reviewing in the future. But speaking of the future, Katie, what do we got going on this weekend?
All right, this weekend we have a tier list for y'all, and it's one we've been cooking for a while. I'm very excited about it. We're going to be doing a tier list of celebrity guest authors in the comics community. So there are some who, have kind of made a home for themselves here. I think Patton Oswalt is someone who's really kind of embraced it. Keanu Reeves has done a lot with what he's done and has dabbled in other areas too. And then you have people who just kind of, came for a visit and maybe it felt like their celebrity was a lot of what they had going for them. Which I think the reviews were a little more positive, but like with Andy Samberg's Holy Roller from last year, it's like, oh, that's the Andy Samberg book. So we've got a lot of fun books lined up there, and we'll figure out who who we're gonna gatekeep and who we'll let through. But Jay, speaking of the future, what about the past? What did we do last weekend?
I love the speaking of the future. Well, last weekend we actually didn't do anything. 2 weekends ago,
oops,
we had our Invincible volume hardcover volume 2, which is volumes 4 and 5 of the TPBs. We reviewed that. Katie read it for the first time ever, so that's a lot of fun. Katie's taking this Invincible journey for the first ever time.
That's right.
You're gonna want to check that out along with the first episode if you hadn't checked that out, so you can continue.
Tune in for my hot takes about Debbie Grayson.
But yeah, we also have all of the books that we're going to be talking about next week on the main episode. Katie, take us through them.
All right, we have, speaking of the future, the past, Justice League Unlimited Dark Tomorrow Special #1. We have Batman, The Long Last Halloween, #8, at long last, frankly. That's been delayed to fresh hell. We have the Nightwing Annual issue, the Titans Annual issue. We have Ultimate Spider-Man, #19. We have Speed Racer, #1. We are going back to Friends of the Podcast, Crush Depth, with Tim Daniel and D.B. Andrew, to look at the conclusion of that series. Also friend of the podcast, we've got Something Beyond the Petrichor, #2 from Dakota Brown. And we'll be getting, we'll be go speed racering with the official Speed Racer #1. I think that was all of them. Look, I'm turning into the robot who can only speak in theme songs.
Not theme songs, specifically his theme song.
Well, I don't have one, so
Yeah. It's very sad.
Steal.
You really need to get one, Katie. But yeah, that's all I think we have for you guys this week. We hope to see you next week. Comic Geeks.